Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Friday Fandemonium for May 31st, 2024. Could you believe 5 months of 2024 are over already? Um, Audio sounds good. So I will, I'm going to just chit chat a bit while I wait for see if anyone comes on. Won't be too long a show today. Jacob, who my normal guest, he may or may not be on today. No big deal. I have a link to his channel below. However, you should check out his awesome content. No unboxings. I may go over what I'm gonna order. Not, I'll save it as a spoiler for maybe next week. Because next week is my birthday, I'm gonna treat myself to a little bit of birthday gift, and so I'll order them this weekend and show you all next week. So let's see. So I'll have a wow. Why do I always get all the Italians called agita right when the show starts? Oh man. I did just eat my lunch, but that usually doesn't cause me to have agita every single time the show starts. Because a lot of times I haven't even eaten yet or whatever. So I am going. The problem is you can't tell. Oh well, StreamYards tell me. So I got two watching according to StreamYards, one of which is probably me. It is 3:01. We'll give it a couple minutes and I'll just start talking about the topics. If you've heard me on Roman's show last night, you'll be getting like the main topic I'm going to talk about today. Okay, and so yeah, I mean that's kind of what I want to get into a bit. To just to discuss that, and then a few other things floating around out there. I didn't really do much preparing for this episode, to be honest. Again, my leg is better. I'd say my leg is 20 to 25% better than it was when the problem started. I want to say 3 weeks ago, maybe 3.5 weeks ago. So like I said, and I could sit plus I just took my pain pill, so again, it's going to be a challenge, but leg is getting better. On a good note, I got a bit of a pay raise, quite a bit of a pay raise from work, right? And so that's pretty good circumstances. So I mean, at least for the next 5 months, when I still have a job there, I'll be able to whip a bit of a war chest, which is good. Now on what else to cover, so to speak? So let's 3:03. 2 more minutes of mindlessly chit chatting before we could get into it a little bit. Yeah, I'm playing a little World of Warcraft in the background while I wait for everything to square up. All right. 3:04. We're about to get started. Just upgrading some battle pets to rares with my Trixie, Twilight. Uh, 3:04. Okay, so I will stop playing the game and start entertaining y'all. Hey, I'm assuming that's you, Nosferatu. Yeah, I mean, I played way back in the day. I gave EverQuest a bit of a shot. All my friends play World of Warcraft, so I was like, I was just playing I was just playing the game that my friends played, so to speak. You know what I mean? And but then you invest so much time and money and all in it that it gets. Oh, yeah. Okay, so what you got to do, brother, when you want to change your name, make a like a brand account and just put the names over there. So and then just use that to chat with people or whatever. This way you don't have to you know what I'm saying? You don't have to like mess with your main account. Okay, so I hope so. The first topic I'm going to cover, I ranted quite a bit on Roman's show last night, and I ranted quite a bit on the questioners, but you won't see that one until Saturday or Sunday. All right. So let's start with that. So, hi to you all. Yeah. Um. So Rings of Prime has. So what the I think to preface my discussion point, I think what Rings of Prime is trying to do for season two is dropping a lot of what I call nostalgia bait, which is characters from the lore and things like that, in an attempt to sucker in people. Grazie, grazie. You know, um, Il Grande Silenzio, or The Great Silence, which we read on Jacob Ironside's channel 2 weeks ago. You should go check that out. It's a great review, great movie. You should watch it. It's legitimately, you can make a case, it's the best spaghetti western. Okay. Um, Anywho, I think the morons who are running Rings of Prime are dropping a bunch. Like, for example, I talked about Anatar, the Lord of Gifts, last week, right? And yeah, well, they've already ruined him. But just this image has already ruined him, Nosferatu. So be ready for a lot of like more token name drops in an attempt to sucker people in to liking this shit show. So let's preface this, right? So in the show's fail storyline, Standoff and the Not Bits have gone to Rune. So what is Rune? Let's start that way. Okay. Now there's a resource. It's kind of incomplete. It's called Arda Maps. Ages of Arda. So Second Age. Actually, I'm going to go to the Third Age because it's more apparent and easier to show. Okay. Actually, no, they didn't complete. They didn't. Okay. How do I put it? What's the best way to do this? No, we'll have to use the Second Age map. Okay. So important to remember, in the Second Age in Tolkien's Legendarium, right? The Earth was sort of flat until Eru made it curved, right? But it wasn't like a square flat. It was like this curved shape, right? And you could see up here, from like Umbar up, that is basically Europe and Asia, and from Umbar down is basically Africa. Okay, got with me so far? So I want to zoom in. So in what we think of as this chunk of faded land here is Beleriand that sunk into the ocean at the end of the War of Wrath, right? So the Shire, see where it says Lindor? The Shire is around here, so to speak. Linden is the major elven kingdom that is left, where Gilgalad, the High King of the Elves, rules. He's the last High King of the Elves, right? And this is Arnor. Eventually, this becomes Arnor, one of the two kingdoms of men after Numenor sinks, right? Hey, CLS, how you doing? Right. So Standoff and here's Mordor, right? And you see names like Eriador, Rovinion, Rune, and so forth, right? So those are regions, okay? And Galadriel created a new region in here called Eregion, okay? Now, Rune, Melkor's influence in the actual lore, right, all the men who lived in from Ravinia, from Rune, all this area here. Excuse me, guys. Having a little medical difficulty. Not the danger of it, but I got to blank the screen. I'm here, but I got to blank it. Sorry about that, guys. Oh, Jacob's here. Let me get Jacob in. Hey,
Hello.
Jacob. Yeah, I had a little medical difficulty, guys. I'm a post bariatric patient, and we have in my case, I got what's called the sleeve gastrectomy, which made my stomach into a long thin tube. And sometimes when you eat, uh, you chew and everything, but a piece of food might get stuck sideways, and 9 out of 10 times you just sort of it just sort of passes. And sometimes it has to come back out. It's stuck there, and your body biologically has to get it out. So I'm okay. I may have to wipe the screen one more time. I feel something trundling down there, but it's a side effect of the bariatric surgery. But I enjoyed it. Right? Okay. Um, I'm glad is your internet working okay, Jacob?
Yeah, it seems to be.
Mm-hmm.
Just takes forever when you have to talk to somebody in India to fix it.
Oh, what was your modem? They had to reset your modem or something?
Yeah.
I would recommend, because the installer, I don't know if you self-installed or whatever, but a lot of times problems with grounding on your home electricity could lead to eventual problems on the internet.
That might. Yeah, I'll have to look into that.
And for those of you who don't know, some easy ways to check if you have grounding problems. If you get an old radio or a stereo, as we called them back in the day, right? And you put it on put it on like the tape, so it doesn't have any input coming into it, and then you plug it into a room and turn it on. It should be silent. If the grounding is correct in that room, it should be completely silent. Okay. If you hear, because when you hear static, that's the actual the sounds being made by the very low voltages that are not being grounded away properly. You know, so you can go from room to room and check that way. Another way to do it is you should check, depending on your connection, if it's cable modem or DSL, for example, if overall it's coaxial cable, right, whether it's cable modem or not. Usually outside your house, there's a box on the wall where they ground from there to the ground, and they usually tie it. You'll see a green wire link to maybe your water line or electric box outside or something like that. That if that's disconnected, that you're grounding on your cable or coax is dead, right? If it's another grounding, I'm going into an IT seminar here, Jake. I'm sorry. I've had to solve these problems over the years for people. Like any place that cables connect, right? No, I don't mean digital cables like Ethernet or whatever, but there's like coaxial or like phone line. Phone line just wired into a box or whatever. Check to make sure there's no corrosion going there and all that sort of stuff. I mean, there's a litany of stuff you go down to, but the grounding could lead to your internet becoming unstable because your router, or for example, your switch, can't get rid of the excess low voltages.
Interesting.
Okay. I mean, that's one up. Excuse me. There's that problem acting up again, but okay, I'll be okay. So, Jacob, I was talking about the Tom Bombadil thing, and I was explaining what Rune was. So if you see, and now I'm using the Second Age map on Encyclopedia on Art of Maps, because even though the Third Age map should look more like the modern world, they didn't. The site's an incomplete site.
Yeah. I've played around with that before.
Sorry, having a little. My bariatric incident is still happening, but I'll be okay. It's just a normal side effect of. So over here, where the real mortar is, and not where show mortar is, right? Rune is the area. You see these mountain ranges, right? So Eregion is here, Ravinian is here. Rune is all of this back here, right?
Right.
And in the modern world, that would correspond to Eastern Europe and Western Asia, with a bit of Turkey, like Asia Minor down here and all that, And those were, and Morgoth, all the humans there, or most of them, became followers either directly or indirectly of Morgoth, right? Those who did not, right, they traveled westward from there, right? And their ancestors eventually became the Dunedain. The Dunedain, the Edain, there's the Dunedain, were the three thousands of men who traveled all the way into Beleriand that was sunk, and the men who wound up over here and here, I believe the term for them is like Northmen. They're the ancestors of the Rohirrim, the ancestors of the non-Numenorian Gondorians and Arnorians, for example. They fled from the Morgoth worshippers, basically, right? So, now for some reason, okay, Standalf and the Notbits are going to Rune. We don't know why. It seems to be that they're following the blonde-haired people who are worshiping Sauron or whatever. Why they won't go to Mordor, I don't know. But like, do you think the blonde people will go to Mordor, where Sauron just set up a volcano saying, "I'm here, I'm here, I'm here"? Sorry. Anyway, so that's the setup in Rings of Prime, right? Now I'm going to go over to here and share this tab. So let's talk about Tom Bombadil first, okay? So Tom Bombadil is a character that was made up by J.R.R. Tolkien, essentially about a doll his children had, and he would make up stories and poems about him and entertain his children, okay? And Tolkien, it's important to remember, Tolkien has a lot of things he wrote, poems, things he drew, stories he read, that have nothing to do with the Legendarium in their outset, but much of which he decided to add into the Legendarium for various reasons. Now, so I'm not saying everything's ultimately called the Legendarium, but it's important to remember that, these characters evolved in his construction, but wound up a certain way, right? So Tom Bombadil is he was drawn from some Tolkien based. He was looking for the lost Germanic mythology of the English people, because they're Germanic people, the Angles and the Saxons, and it was gone. It had been erased by time. So, and the only ones who could record it were the Romans, and they never did. So, because the Romans like to Romanize everything, for example, and so, which is a whole other thing. I don't want to get sidetracked. So where was it? Okay. So Tolkien said, okay, the surviving remnants of that Germanic lore is the Norse and Germanic lore that's from the Prose Edda, the Poetic Edda, the Icelandic sagas, the people of Denmark, the Populum Danorum, or whatever it was called, a bunch of stuff like that. Okay, and he said he pulled out of that because he's a philologist. He studied languages. He became fascinated by the language of the area that led to this lore, and that's where the Legendarium came from. Now, in Germanic / Norse lore, there are several different types of creatures. There are humans, for example. There are giants. There are elves, right? And there are dwarves who may or may not be elves, depending on which interpretation of the actual word you take, right? But there's a whole other classification of spirits, right? And they're called nature spirits, right? They're the spirits of the land, and they're sapient, right? In Norse mythology. Well, some of them are, at least. And Tom is clearly drawn out of that tradition. Okay, Tolkien doesn't do a lot with the nature spirits in his Legendarium, right? But they're there. Like when they talk about the nameless things deep down below Moria, for example, they get mentioned, but they're not. Tom has the most appearances of any of them, right? So that's the first part of how Tom got there. Like, sure. The next thing to know about Tom is Tolkien deliberately left Tom his true identity unidentified. Okay, Tom is supposed to represent a couple of things. One of which is mystery, another which is, uncontaminated nature. He's you could say in one aspect he's a spirit. a spirit of uncontaminated nature. He's also the first sapient being in the universe. Okay, he was in Ea, the universe, after it was created, and before Melkor even entered into it, from the void. Okay, before the Valar even entered into it. Right. So he was literally you would think Big Bang, then Tom's there through some unknown means. That's kind of how that works.
Right.
He would have been on Arda, the Earth, before Aule came to it and shaped it into an actual planet when it was just a lump of whatever in space. And so that's another thing about Tom. Now, one other aspect about Tom is that Tom is curious about many things, but he has no material desires, right? Like
Right.
so in the Lord of the Rings, the novel, when he sees the ring, he's like, "Oh, this is interesting," and then just puts it down, like he's not the ring.
Yeah.
The ring can tempt. The ring could every mortal being. No, sorry, let me phrase that. Everyone short of evil Yuvatar, right, and therefore Jesus Christ, to give Tolkien these, can be tempted by something. Okay, whether it's an emotional thing or intellectual thing or whatever. And Sauron is like the master tempter is Melkor, his chief servant is Sauron. Melkor is the devil, So Sauron was a master of tempting people, and he put that into the ring as part of his nature to be able to tempt, right? So,
right.
And got so far. Tom is not even tempted by it. He'd be curious about it, but that's about it. And so that was his major appearances were when he saved the hobbits from Old Man Willow in the old forest. Then he brought them to his house, had dinner, and helped them recover from their wounds and weariness. Then he gave them ponies and then they got trapped by the Barrows, and he saved them from that because they called out to Tom Bombadil after he got them almost all the way to the Bree, and then they got caught up by the Barrows. The hobbits called out, and he came and saved them from them, and which shows you his power because the Witch King of Angmar cursed the Barrows to have the Barrowites. So he's more powerful than the Nazgul. To give you a minimum level of scale, right? Okay, so that's kind of now the last thing we know about Tom. That's why I have the Tolkien Gateway, which is so far uncorrupted online encyclopedia of Tolkien. If you don't own the source material, here's a good place for it. So the last thing I want to read, Tom, this is some quotes, right? So Tom looked like an old man who was taller and heavier than a hobbit, but not quite tall enough for a man, right? His face was creased and red as a ripe apple with blue and bright eyes. His hands were brown-skinned. He had thick brown hair and a long brown beard. Tom wore a blue coat, an old tall hat with a long blue feather, and yellow boots. Earlier, he wore a swan feather, which he later replaced with the blue one from a kingfisher. Okay? Now, so let's now look at our rings of power images of Tom. I don't see. So here's the first point I'm going to make, and it's very humorous. Okay. No, he's not. He's not on the Valor's level. Nosferatu. He's Manwë and Melkor are the most powerful characters, basically, before Melkor fell. So this isn't a power skill like Dragon Ball Z. Like, can Tom go Super Bombadil level 2 or whatever? I'm not trying to say he's powerful in that regard. I'm trying to say this character is of a certain type of nature and power that should be treated differently than what's about to happen in this show. Okay, that's why I'm prefacing that. Okay.
Yeah.
So now the people doing this stupid show, the woke, DEI infested, better than us because they're more inclusive. They want more minority representation, so they have to make fake black elves and all that, right? Tom is supposed to be a red-skinned, brown-haired person, and they turned him into a white guy.
Yeah.
That should tell you what their agenda is, which is not to be inclusive in any real way, but it's just to do something. But George R. R. Martin has a great quote about this, that they're tempted to destroy the Lord of the Rings, exploit for their financial purposes, among other things. But I will have a quote from Martin after I'm done my own rant. Okay. Now, so he doesn't look like Tom, right? Immediately, I'm not saying that Tom, you have to get a red-skinned person to play Tom. I'm not saying that. Okay. I'm pointing out that they had a legitimate chance, right, Well, most of what's about Tom is from it's either from the Lord of the Rings itself, or from the letters of Tolkien, or from the Adventure of Tom Bombadil, which is a collection of poems. I don't think he gets mentioned at all in the Silmarillion, if I recall correctly. Now I
Yeah,
think
I don't think so. I don't think so.
he might have a mention in the Unfinished Tales, which is the parts of the Silmarillion that couldn't be turned into readable narrative. So there was this big chunk of lore
Yeah.
of work that was going into the Silmarillion when Tolkien died, and so Christopher Tolkien, obviously, and Guy Gary Kay helped him consolidate that material, pull out what could be turned into poetry and prose and timeline, and like material that could actually be published in a book, right? So that was the Silmarillion. Then a couple years later, the Unfinished Tales came out, which are really more a collection of the background material and stuff like that, you know. But there's more in there. Like a lot of stuff in the Second Age was just left too incomplete to turn into anything in the Silmarillion. For example, like everyone goes, what were Galadriel and Celeborn doing in the Second Age, right? Well, it would have been in Silmarillion, but it couldn't. Tolkien didn't complete enough to in Christopher's judgment to include it, so it's in the Unfinished Tales. You know, as an example.
Yeah.
Now, so what was it? Tom Bombadil. So now we've talked about them being chill, fakest, I guess you would say. Like, I'm not saying that Tom has to be played by a Redskin guy. I'm not that type of guy. But this was an opportunity to arguably legitimately have a non-white person play a role. And what do? They make it white. You know, that's the first thing I want to point out. You know. Now the second thing I want to
because
point out,
he's stupid.
Yeah, they're horrible.
Because
they're
going to make him a stupid white guy.
Well, that's one interpretation. I think they're just too stupid to understand what they did. Right? You know what I mean? Now, the second thing I want to point out, right? I'll go back to the maps. Okay, we'll go share this tab.
Yeah.
So
it's probably more like, oh, we need another character. Oh, just use that character.
Yeah. Now I'm going to go to the map.
They're not following any outline of Tolkien.
Well, no, I don't know if you clipped a very early thing I said, Jacob. Like, I think they're including a lot of nostalgia bait. I might be sneezing, guys.
Yeah.
Give me a second. It's an allergy day. Sorry, let me cover up.
Gesundheit.
Thanks. So on the map, right now, I want to switch to the Third Age view because it makes it a little bit better. But see where Linden is and Arnor and Rune, like that relationship. Okay, and I'll zoom in a little. Actually, I could do it from here. Where is it? Okay. So now we're zoomed in, right? Now notice where Rune is. It's way over there, right? Okay. Now this is Ost in Edhill right here, which is the city where Celebrimbor is, which Galadriel founded. But anyway, that's where all the rings were made, right? Except for the one ring. Okay. And there's the Mines of Moria, right? Okay. Would be so far. And then Mordor is over there. Linden is over here. The Greyhaven, where Círdan is over here, right? So where the city Gil-galad is from, is right around here. I don't remember the exact location. Okay.
Is that what is that? I can't remember the name of the city.
It sounds like it's like it has like name like Howard Linden over here and Forlindon. All the names sound like that. But they're not on the map. It's one of these dots, right? I think it's this dot. I can't zoom. I don't think we can zoom enough. You know, like I think it's this unnamed dot here, right? I think this is the Greyhavens are at the mouth of the river. You know. Anyway, so you all have that situation, right? So when where Elrond is, because he hasn't made him Ladris yet, which would be over here, there, like this doesn't exist yet at the time of making the ring. He makes this as a result of the war that's about to happen. Okay, so Elrond and Gil-galad are over here, right? Because Arnor isn't there yet till after Numenor falls, right? And you see Bree on the map here, right? Bree starts in the right. Tom Bombadil's lands are right here, where I'm mousing out. Okay, the Shire is like over here, right? right? So they would have to travel through or around or near his lands to get to us in Ed Hill, right? So if they weren't horrible writers, right, they could include Tom Bombadil by just having him travel through his lands and go to visit him and say, "Hey, Tom, there are all mysterious goings on. What's your advice about it?" And just move on. If they really want to just have an actual Tom Bombadil sighting that would be lore compliant. But no, that's not what they did. Okay, what they did was decide that Tom Bombadil has another house way over here in Rune, and he went to the house to investigate what's going on in Rune. And apparently that's why not Standoff and the Not Bitch go there to look for him. So that's the plot involving him, according to what we know, right? So I've been pretty calm about this.
That's ridiculous. That is so weird.
Yeah, maybe I just got all out of me on one show last night.
They do things that don't make any sense. Even if they're just making up their own show, they're doing stuff that doesn't make sense.
Well, Martin had a perfect summary of that, which I will get to in a minute. But there is no reason for them to introduce Rune in any reason. They could have had that. They could have had the the white clothed strange people who worship Sauron go north, or or go to Mordor or something, right? Or there's no reason to do what they're doing. Well, there is a reason, which I'll get to. Okay, but so not only are they're trying to compress like 2,800 years or whatever of the lore, the actual existing lore, into a 5-year time span, right? Not only are they doing that, okay, they're filling it in, just like they did in Wheel of Time, for example. They're adding their own material in and having even less of the actual lore. So why might this be, right? Let's go over to our friend, Mr. George R. R. Martin, who unfortunately may never finish The Winds of Winter, but is still right about what he's saying here. So way back in 2022, in Variety, Martin and Neil Gaiman were talking, basically. I think they were interviewing each other. I think they were actually interviewing one another, some type of thing. Okay, and this is a bit way back. I think when Neil Gaiman said George R. R. Martin is not your bitch, basically. When people demanding he just write that and nothing else. So anyway, and the main gist here is that they were complaining about Hollywood, right, back then. Now we got a quote this year from Martin on his blog on May 24th. Okay, that was all back in 2022. There's a quote from Martin. But very little has changed since then. If anything, things have gotten worse. Everywhere you look, there are more screenwriters and producers eager to take great stories and, quotes, make them their own. It doesn't matter, end quotes. It doesn't matter, doesn't seem to matter whether the source material is written by Stan Lee, Charles Dickens, Ian Fleming, Ronald Dahl, Ursula K. Le Guin, J.R. Tolkien, Mark Twain, Raymond Chandler, Jane Austen, or, well, anyone. No matter how major a writer is, no matter how great the book, there always seems to be someone on hand who thinks he can do better. You're going to take the story and, in quotes, improve, end quotes, on it. The book is a book. The film is a film, they'll tell you, as if they were saying something profound. Then they make the story their own. They never make it better, though. 999 times out of 1,000, they make it worse. And then he goes on to talk about Shogun, which was a good adaptation, right? So this summarized here, one of the two major problems, aside from the woke, that's going on with all these properties. These writers, right? They think they're better than these writers who wrote these great books or made these all great TV shows or movies or whatever. They think they're better than them and they have no accomplishments on their own. And they're altering this great material instead of just using it, the existing material, to tell the story in some form. Obviously you have to have changes, right? Like Peter Jackson in his trilogy, I can nitpick it all day. That's why I tell people all the time, I love the theatrical versions. I don't watch the extended versions because the extended versions make all the deviances intolerable to me, But so that is the situation with Rings of Prime and Tom Bombadil, and probably with Anatar as well. You can only imagine I do the same sort of things with him,
Yeah.
So Jacob, what's going on with you besides your internet?
Not much right now. Really not much.
So I don't know if you heard the show last night, but when you couldn't get on, so they were joking about a raccoonado, like a raccoon tornado.
Yeah, actually, I'm working on a meme for that. So
Yeah. But then I said out loud, that would make an awesome Pokemon, a raccoonado, like a raccoon with a tornado for a tail that shoots tornadoes at people from its mouth or
yeah,
eyes.
right.
That would be awesome. Like, then I was like, "Where's the Ginger Ninja when you need him?" Like, that would be awesome, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah. Yeah, so Jacob, we're not ending the show yet, but before, I just wanted to get what we're doing on Jacob's channel. We did Leon the Professional. Was it this week or last week? This week, right?
This week, yeah, this week.
Yeah. So that was on his Jacob Ironside channel, which is linked below. A couple weeks ago, we just talked about. I don't know if you were on. When he was talking about the Grande Silencio. But we did that a couple weeks ago, and then I know Jacob's coming up with the X-Files next week, and next time I'm back on the show, I think is in 2 or 3 weeks with the real True Grit. You know, it's like
Yeah.
no. So okay, so that was my main. Like, I didn't plan a lot for this show because I figured talking about this Tom Bombadil thing would be like a half an hour all by itself. You know, so let's. And I do want to mention. Okay, so I want to talk about Furiosa, but out of the context of the contentions of last night, right? So, how do I put it? So sometimes, how do I put it? The audience for Mad Max is a fairly small audience. Okay, I mean the biggest, technically, I think Fury. Well, let's just look. Let's just find out. Let's go to.
I mean, it's not Star Wars big. I mean, it's.
Yeah. So let's see the Road Warrior. Mad Max 2, the Road Warrior. So domestic, basically $23 million, right? And I'm sure because it's technically an Australian movie, they had Australian money as well. They just didn't have the way to record it back then, right? So this movie made $23 million bucks. Production $2 million, right? So and the sequel was Mad Max 3. Does it work? And now the internet is broke. Mad Max 3 has broken the internet. Here we go. Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome. So this film, world all-time domestic box office, all-time world basically, it looks like around 36 million bucks, right, for this movie against production of like 10 million, right? So then let's go to Fury Road. We'll go back. We'll tab back. Now, Fury Road hit big, right? It grossed 369 worldwide, right? And had a budget of 150 million, right? So in mathematical terms, it made about as much profit percentage-wise as the previous two. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah. So, and I'm not, and so this suggests to me that the audience is about the same in terms of percentages. It's just between inflation and maybe those people having kids who like Mad Max as well, you got a bigger budget for it. So, like I would willing to bet my bottom dollar that this 369 million in, let's say, when did Beyond Thunderdome come out? Like 1990 or whatever, 80 something, would have been like, half as much, but the same level of profit, if you know what I mean, with inflation factored in, right? So,
right.
So Mad Max has a specialized audience, right? Which probably crosses over with Mel Gibson's audience, as Roman was pointing out last night, right? So
yeah.
Then we get to Furiosa. Now, the movie has had a production budget of 168 million, has grossed 71 million total. So it's probably at least going to meet that. I would suspect this movie is going to finish between 150 and 200 million dollars at the theater. Okay, because I think internationally it's going to do better than the U.S. Just like it might get another 20 million U.S. and maybe another, 60 million, 80 million worldwide. I think that's kind of what's going to happen, but we don't know. That being said, all right. So you have the Mad Max audience, but not the Mel Gibson audience, right? So there's that. But
Right.
this movie came out several years too late. Okay, it should have come out in I don't know 2019, 2018, 2017, right on the heels of Mad Max when people were really curious about the Furiosa character. Okay, um, they
Mhm.
could have also, given her age, got Charlize Theron to actually play the role in the prequel, right? Um,
Yeah.
and there was then we get what we talked last night, where the COVID destroyed the movie market, the population shift, and all that, right? But I just want to put that on the table, right, Jacob? Before I go to my next thing, and do you have any thoughts on it before I drop my next thing?
Well, I haven't seen this one, but I don't believe that the pandemic caused it. I don't believe that. I believe Hollywood caused it themselves. They're making a bunch of trash that nobody wants to watch, and they're putting
I,
it on streaming instead of at the theater. That's what's affected it, not the pandemic.
no. When I say the pandemic, I agree with you to an extent, there, Jacob. I'm not saying the pandemic caused this movie to fail. I'm saying the pandemic destroyed the theater industry because of lockdowns, people moving out of the states. Because theaters are
Yeah,
like
I
trains.
guess.
For them to make a profit, so to speak, you have to put them in high population areas, right? Okay, so that means your
Right.
cities, basically. Well, people have been fleeing cities since the pandemic because they don't want to be locked down. They don't want to live on all the homeless people in these Democrat cities. They don't want to live on the illegal immigrants around these Democrat cities. They don't want to live in a place where you're not protected by the police. So if you go to the theater and someone mugs you and breaks your leg or whatever, they get away with it now because they didn't kill you, so the cops don't care anymore, right? So theaters
Yeah.
need a safe environment where with a high population concentration who want to go out on the weekends, right? In these places, and
Right.
no one who still lives there wants to do that, you know. Um, I think that is the number one contributor. Like for example, Godzilla Kong. I think if Godzilla Kong, Kong New Empire had come out, let's say this whole sequence of the legendary Godzilla films had started 10 years earlier or whatever, right? So Godzilla Kong comes out in 2018, 2019. I think it would have been $1 billion movie, you know? I think because
Yeah.
people going to the theater was a thing back then. Like it's like, hey, let's go to the movies. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, CLS, I kind of disagree there. I think Top Gun Maverick, had that movie come out in 20, I don't know, 27, 2018, it would have made $2-3 billion. It would have pushed for Titanic and the Avatar films with the highest grossing films of all time. You know, um,
Yeah.
so that is, I think, why Furiosa is suffering financially in terms of all that. It's just in a situation like you said, where Hollywood is producing either woke crap or bad crap. The theater industry itself has been destroyed by people. I mean, in the sense that people don't want to go to the theaters anymore. They'd rather sit at home in their luxury apartments with their big screen TVs, and you know what I mean, and where it's safe to watch these films now.
Right.
So that's my addressing of why it failed. Right. Now,
Yeah.
the other issue I want to address with Furiosa is why I have a feeling I will like this movie based on everything everyone has said. I love the mythology that George Miller has created. Okay, he has created a post-apocalyptic world where with all this fascinating, tribal stuff, right? Because it's maybe because I'm into this stuff, but like all of our religions come out of tribalism, basically, right? So here's a whole new set of religions, and Mortan Joe, who's basically like the myth of Odin, basically being reborn, so to speak, um, and all sorts of
Yeah.
stuff like that. And it's really, I just love the fact that in our tribal times, people resort to these mythologies to again, which is a truism. If that really happened, I think that would happen. We would resort to these mythologies, like we would, not that we would just choose them, but
Yeah.
they would evolve that way. So, and Miller has tapped into that in a good way. Um, so that's just kind of one of her with Furiosa. Uh, just to
Yeah.
get out there that this.
One sidestep to this uh, world that he made. the old ones, at least the first two, seemed plausible. You know what I mean? It's kind of set in reality that could happen. These Fury Road and this one, they're more fantastical. If you know what I mean, they're
I
more
don't.
like a superhero type stuff.
I'm kind of 50-50 on that one, Jacob, because if you go back and watch The Road Warrior, like he does superhero stuff in that too. You know, like Mad Max is the one that's really grounded in reality. But when you get to The Road Warrior, like, he survives car crashes that would kill regular people without a scratch. Um,
Yeah,
he always happens to show up at just the right place at the right time with no plot based reasons for doing it. Right. Um, Then you go to you go to he gets he suffers a debilitating leg injury that needs a leg brace, but by the third movie his leg is perfectly fine. You know,
yeah, right.
um, you know, and then at the end of Mad Max 3, spoilers for a 40-year-old movie, guys. For no logical reason, Anti-Entity with our giant army just lets him live. Tries to let him live after he basically destroyed our economy. You know, so
Yeah, right.
you know. So and now now you may saying Furiosa has like a robot arm or whatever. Like why is this stuff happening? Well, because these are myths. See, when we watch any of these Mad Max films, right, all five of them, we're not watching it like Max's story. We're not following Max. We're being told a tale but many years later of someone who survived the apocalypse about these ancient legends of a guy named Max or Furiosa. You know what I mean? So
Right.
in those tall tales or legends or myths, fantastical things happen. Now I would agree with you. Fury Road and Furiosa are more fantastical than say the second and third, the second and third one. But I would say that if you go back and look at the second and third one, some pretty absurdly fantastical thing happens there too.
Yeah. I guess I just meant by at least with the Road Warrior that it's seems more grounded because they're actually using real vehicles and practical effects for the most part. But when you get to
They
Furiosa, it's all a lot of the big vehicles in it are CGI stuff.
Well, I'm reading into some stuff on this one, and I was like, apparently the insurance companies are balking at having actors and even stuntmen do excessively dangerous stunts anymore, right? 'Cause remember we
Right.
had the issue with like that shooting, for example, with the Baldwin, right? Um, what was going on said is there are lawsuits and insurance claims based on that event. You know what I mean, right? So they based hey Dempsey, uh, they I think we're going to see a lot more special effects and a lot less practical effects anywhere where anyone working in that, like an actor or a stuntman, has more than a certain percentage chance of being harmed. I think that's the future now, and so we'll see, like like in Fury Road or Furiosa, the actors in the car chases. When the car flips, where in the past that stuntman do the flip manually, it's going to be a special effect because they don't want to pay out $1 million if that stuntman dies. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
it,
I
it,
think
and
there's one of the one of the stunts in Road Warrior. The stunt driver did had they told him not to eat anything for 24 hours in
yeah,
case he had to be rushed to surgery, emergency surgery.
yeah. So you guys, well, if you watch me on Jacob's shows, when we review these old movies, I always drop a joke like this, and when they're like, say, let's say someone's being executed or shot or whatever. I always goes, and the director goes, "Cut. We need a new gun. There's a new actor. This guy's dead. Get another one in here." Because the way they used to treat these actors as commodities, like back then, like
Yeah,
and
right.
you may think I'm joking about it. What was that movie with Melanie Griffith when she was a kid? Her family owned all these like lions and tigers and whatever, and so they used them into filming. And apparently, she got attacked by a lion as a kid and was almost murdered, like killed by the lion for the sake of filming.
who
But they
who
didn't stop filming.
who now?
Melanie Griffith.
Oh yeah, yeah, you read about that whole situation was insane.
but it's
The
insane to us.
lions.
But it was normal back then. Well, you know what I mean? It was just normal, and
No,
like
that movie in particular, that they had, their family had like got all these different big cats from all over, and in one place just let them run loose everywhere. I mean, it's insane, absolutely insane.
yeah, no. I mean, yeah, that's insane. The same Siegfried and Roy insane and all that. But I mean, is
Yeah.
filming like that where they had no care for the actors or stuntmen or whatever.
Oh yeah.
For that was normal. I mean, we can go back to like those Tarzan movies in the 30s and 40s and 50s, you know. And I know for a fact there were people who got trampled by elephants, for example. You know what I mean. And yeah, is Wise Miller okay? We could recast Jane, whatever. You know, and
Yeah.
they did
Right.
recast Jane several times. It's like, you know,
Yeah.
um, and so it's just hilarious, like that lack of. But well, it's not hilarious. But we know it to be true. Slightly controversial topic for those about to listen. With Harvey Weinstein, what's his name, right? Harvey Weinstein. How
Yeah.
how exploitative those running Hollywood, not just Hollywood, but worldwide movie and TV production. I'm fairly sure there's a Harvey Weinstein in the Indian film market, the Chinese film market. You know what I mean? And they just did you ever? I don't know if you ever read Mickey Rooney's biography, right? But as a child star, when he was like 12 or whatever, they would literally feed him women, like send him like young starlets so he could have sex with them over as a part of his salary, you know, and
Yeah.
it's you know, and no one cared. Like they all joked about it or whatever until they made their millions. And it was the same thing with violence and death. And like if you would get hurt on the set and you couldn't make your next film, you would not be because these guys remember we were talking about with Universal movies. They were under contract for years to make multiple movies with the company. You
Yeah.
couldn't make the next film. You got no money and your family was out. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
yeah, well, I mean, Oprah. Oprah's another joke of a human being, But I don't want to get lost in it. But you guys know what I'm saying. This whole treating people as a commodity is just par for the course for rich elite leftists. It's just the way they are,
Yeah. Even still today, even, I mean,
Yeah.
I would say especially so today, even more.
Yeah.
The
Well, now it's part of their
so many
political.
people go through the meat grinder of Hollywood.
Not just Hollywood, regular people. I mean, I
Yeah.
hate to say this, but the main reason for things like abortion and transing and grooming kids and all that isn't to make the poor people better. It's so these rich elites can have people they can exploit and make money off of and have sex with. That's what it's there for, you know.
Yeah.
But not to get sidetracked because I try to keep it lighter, not darker here. But it just
Yeah.
when you do that deep dive into that horrible, leftist cult that they've created to feed their vices and all that, it gets depressing. You know?
It does.
Yes, that was the Furiosa talk. Let's see. So that was basically what I had planned for today. So let's just do a few random. Let's Jacob, if you have anything to talk about, let me know. I will do a few random things, like I always do.
Oh, one more thing about Mad Max and really the point about having Old Man Max and have Mel Gibson playing him. I mean, we've seen what they've done to Han Solo and Luke Skywalker. They kill them off. They make them look like idiots, and they make them like a guest own movie and kill them off. So
Don't disagree. I always want to put this out there for Han Solo. It was a requirement that he be killed off for him to return to the movie. So just keep that in mind.
yeah,
The same thing with Indy 5, where he gets erased or whatever. To do that film, he required that they kill him off.
yeah.
Harrison Ford is not our friend. I'll put it that way.
No, he's an idiot. That's really it. It makes no sense for him to do that. But anyway, go ahead, sir. That was my
No,
last.
I mean, but you're right. You're right about what they do with these characters. That's a routine thing. I'm just want to, but I always want to point out with Harrison Ford. It's him. It was him that made that. Now they still probably would have killed him off in some horrible way in the third, like maybe in the second or third film or whatever, and they would have weakened him or whatever it was. You know what I mean? But the requirement to kill him in that movie. Yeah, but see, he didn't have the clout in any of those three movies to dictate plot. Now with he has a clout Nosferatu to actually dictate terms for any movie he does. You know. So let's hit some good sites up. Let's go to Bounty in the Comics. Leave.
Matt.
I inadvertently closed the wrong tab. Let's
What happened?
No, I went over to the tab to share a different tab, right, and but I didn't look. I looked away for a second, and my mouse drifted, and I clicked the X. I I hit the back arrow on the SteamYard one instead of on the tab. You know.
Oh.
So
You kicked yourself off.
yeah. So let's actually one more furious thing I wanted to share. Let's do this. So they are doing a black and chrome edition of Furiosa. So that just to keep that in mind, that
What?
you know, just like they did a black and chrome of Fury Road, they're gonna do a black and chrome Furiosa.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Now, let's check the interesting Dungeons and Dragons TV series retool. Oh God. Yes, it's been canceled. Yes. So the planned live-action TV series adaptation of Hasbro's Dungeons and Dragons tabletop fantasy role-playing game franchise has been scrapped at Paramount Plus service. So Paramount
they
Plus
scrapped it. Okay.
Yeah, dished due to creative differences. I'm wondering if Paramount saw it was going to be really woke and badly written, so we're not paying for this.
I don't know.
So, Hasbro and their Nazgul minions, Wizards of the Coast, have basically destroyed Dungeons and Dragons. You know, they made it they ruined it from a woke point of view. I don't want to go into Dungeons and Dragons. Anything else on Dark Horizons we can chat about? I don't think you play pen and paper. Take away.
No, I haven't.
Guys, you're witnessing live an actual allergy attack. That's like
the D&D movie. It was okay. I mean, I don't know anything about. I don't know a whole lot about the D&D universe, but it was okay. It wasn't. I mean, it's one of those you can watch and never want to go back to it. I mean, it's not anything special.
I think. Anyway. It was certainly the best Dungeons and Dragons movie, right? That's for sure. Of the 9 or whatever that's out there. But I agree, it was okay. Because of the D&D internal mechanisms, it explains why, for example, the female character was destroyed because she was like a 20th level fighter. So she had superpowers basically. So that to me is a good reason when you can explain why certain things happen within the context of the system. You know what I mean? So,
right.
Let's go over to let's try Bounty in the Comics once again. I refuse to even watch this show. X-Men 97, as good as it can be under the circumstances. So this show, and I saw an article last week, it is the least reviewed Marvel product ever. Like in terms of
really,
like critics or people like us reviewing, it's the least reviewed.
I haven't watched the whole thing. but it is better than most of the crap they've been putting out. I mean, it still has some woke stuff in it. I mean,
Dempsey
you
has
can't
just
get away
spoken.
from.
Yeah.
What now?
I agree with you on that. I agree with you on that. I like, I just think it's funny, like how the show legitimately defined, like, it's like the Highlander 5 of Marvel. You know what I mean? It's the worst it could possibly be.
Yeah. I
Um,
mean, this was another grab, trying to get people to come back and watch the
yeah,
MCU.
yeah. Oh, totally. Yep, yep. That is sacrilege, Dempsey. Uh, there is no first and second edition are better than every edition of D&D that's ever come out since then. Okay, sacrilege on your part, my friend. But 3.5 is okay. First edition and early second edition is the best Dungeons and Dragons ever. It's because it's advanced Dungeons and Dragons. You know. Okay, we got that. Let's check it out. It's 4 o'clock, so let's try another maybe 15 more minutes.
I don't want to give spoilers if you ever watch it, but they kill off 2 main characters in one episode.
Of what? Oh, X-Men.
X-Men 97. Yeah.
I'm never gonna watch it. Like never. I'm not even from a comic book point, like the actual comic books themselves. Even back in the day, I was a casual X-Men reader. You know what I mean? Like I would read
Yeah.
certain arcs and enjoy them, but I wasn't like a giant X-Men fan. Like I know people who were like X-Men crazy would buy every, like when Wolverine was having 17 series a year, he'd buy every one of them or whatever. You know what I mean? I was never that into the X-Men character. I like some of the storylines, but you know.
Yeah.
Now this is interesting. Okay. Yeah. So for those who don't know the story about this Blade reboot, right? Um, Marshall Ali was supposed to play Blade, and he gets to the set and reads the script. It turns out they were gonna sideline him, cuck him out, and make a female character the main character, the standard thing they do. And he not
Oh.
only refused, right? He says he will accuse them of racism, and he'll deliberately go on the warpath about them doing it. He said, "You're gonna make a Blade movie the way it's supposed to be, like because he loves the original Blade movies with me as a star, or I'm gonna destroy you guys." Yeah, he'll pull every card he can to destroy them. He said that to them, so that they kept trying to rewrite this film, and there was a war between those who like didn't want to get slammed by this guy, like the woke people were trying to say it's going to be the woke way, you know what I mean? And people want to make the Blade movie actually a good Blade
Right.
movie. So, but he laid his foot down. I'm not saying he's
Well,
one
good
of
for
us.
him.
I'm just saying, but him standing up for Blade, you know what I mean?
Yeah, good for him.
Yeah. From what I heard, Dempsey, because I didn't play it much, fourth edition was basically like as if they made a D&D version of World of Warcraft, you know. Um, I always thought fifth edition Dempsey was. 'Cause I played fifth edition. I DM'd it as well. Um, I always thought fifth edition better than third and fourth. Not as good as 3.5, but there are some mechanics that really annoy me. Like I hate group initiative. I hate it with a passion. I, whenever I would DM fifth edition, I always go back to like the first edition, second edition rule where everyone rolls their own initiative because I hate the idea that the entire party goes all at the same time and then all the bad guys go. I just hate that, Um, you know. So there were some. I like advantage, for example. I like the idea as a casual way to give a good mechanic. Um, so it was better than like I would say most of third and all of fourth. But I agree with you. Pathfinder sort of took the ball away as far as the viable game. Uh, I know we're talking like I'm not even
Yeah.
talking high end
I,
physics.
I don't I don't think we're going to get another Blade movie as good as the first 2.
Not, I don't think we'll. I would be shocked if we get any really great movies compared to like some of the older comic book movies.
Oh
Between
yeah.
the Blade movies or the first Blade movie especially. or the early Phase 1 Marvel films or whatever, I mean, there still hasn't been a superhero film as good as Superman the movie, right? In my opinion, So,
Yeah. Yeah.
let's go to Screen Rant.
Yeah. Right. Right. Nice. Blade 3 is
this is
good because it
all.
had Triple H in it.
Yeah. Well, Blade 3 was okay. It just wasn't great,
Yeah. I didn't like it.
Well, I didn't dislike it or like it. I watching it once, I was like, okay, popcorn film. You can enjoy the fights, and you'd never watch it again. You know what I mean? Plus, what's her face is in there, Jessica Biel, and I had to think about her back then. She was really hot, So,
Yeah.
I mean, she still
But
is really hot.
we get a
Yeah.
Super Saiyan Blade in it. So.
Yeah. Okay. Bleeding Fool. Oh God, this could go bad or it could go
Why?
good. You never know.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
well, it's like they made the Lego Batman films. Like I could see them doing something like that with this.
Yeah.
What?
Strange.
What the hell is this? Oh, I heard about this. So Collider is making a very big deal out of a new cartoon on Netflix based on Greek mythology, Blood of Zeus. They're calling it gory, which they also absurdly call it an anime, right? Yeah, I remember this show. I heard this show was horrible.
Are there some brown people there? It looks like it.
Well, I mean, Greek people would be not quite like Scandinavian white. You know what I mean?
Oh no, but
yeah,
but they're still European.
yeah. I mean, I'm a Mediterranean person, and I'm only pale and white because I don't go in the sun. I'd be normally a bit darker skinned than this.
Yeah.
Oh, how bad can this be? Oh my God! Like this dude on the left is going to play He-Man.
No.
I liked the Dolph Lundgren He-Man movie. I think the story. I mean, I'm not saying I love it. The story was a little weird, but he looked like He-Man. He acted like He-Man. Frank Langella is an underrated actor. I loved him as Skeletor. I loved the final battle they had in there. You know what I mean? I love it, and
Yeah.
I thought the Going to Earth and the music was a little goofy. But you could kind of. I'm not saying that I want to watch it every year.
That is the typical. That guy on the left there is the typical Hollywood star they're going for these days for men.
Let's look this guy up.
Boyish, soy boy look.
He's only 6 feet tall. He-Man is supposed to be look like the mountain tall. You know what I mean? Supposed to be gigantic.
Yeah.
How? And the dude doesn't even look like he has a build.
He'll wear a shirt. He'll have his shirt on.
He'll have a if you know who El Gigante the wrestler was, he wore like a padded muscle suit with fake muscles. They'll have to bust that out for him.
Oh no.
Yeah, I'll show you. El Gigante. I mean, yeah. I have nothing against George Gonzalez. I mean, for what he was a good wrestler. Like he was entertaining in the ring. The WWE just ruined, just mishandled him greatly. You see the bodysuit they had him wear,
Yeah.
Yeah, and he was in shape. He just wasn't in that level of shape, So.
Yeah.
But hey, he was in retirement.
The only actor I could think that could, at least size wise, play He-Man was the guy that played Reacher.
Well, he could.
I mean, I don't know how tall he is.
He's 6'3" or 6'4".
Yeah.
Alan Ritchie, he's 6'3" or 6'4". Henry Cavill is actually bigger than him. Henry Cavill has the physical build to play He-Man. Chris Hemsworth could do it if he buffs himself up. You know what I mean? Not right now. He's going for that svelte, like more soldiery look, which you'll also be seeing Extraction 1 and 2 and Extraction 3 when it comes out. They're great movies.
He almost messed himself up bulking up for Thor.
Yeah. Well,
So
did you ever see when they were filming before the Marvel and DC films went bad? Him and Cavill would post like competing posts about like saying I'm working on more than you and like teasing each other with their work routines and stuff. You know, that was pretty funny. Now let's check out Empire. Oh God, I can't.
Yeah, man. I was interested in this until I saw the full trailer.
I'm not a giant Beetlejuice fan, but I thought it was good, and I thought the cartoon was pretty good.
No,
right?
I'm not either.
But I would be willing to watch it because Michael Keaton's entertaining. The actor, the cast is fine. You know what I'm saying? Like no objections or whatever. But in a modern environment, there's no way this isn't going to be unless Keaton puts his foot down, right? Because it has to, like if he puts his foot down and says no, this is going to be a Beetlejuice movie, not a woke piece of garbage. Then it could be good, but I don't think he's going to do that. You know, I think he's one of them. So
yeah.
Film. Oh, this is the original adaptation of The Stand. I can tell by the actor. He's I'm not talking a lot about it. I like the original adaptation of The Stand better than the second one. I don't know why. I want to talk about Doctor Who, but it was canceled several years ago, so I don't know what to talk about there. Have they? They finally an update to Giant Freaking Robot. I thought they had. I thought they died, but no, we got some new content there. This site used to be really good.
Great.
Yeah. Well, they're talking about a comic book series, which in a way is good. I think I know what they're talking about. Yeah. Yeah, so Shin Godzilla is a really good movie. It's not the greatest Godzilla film of all time. Okay, it's as good as Godzilla -1 overall. Although Godzilla -1 is a better, like, I think Godzilla -1 is a more well-made movie, but Shin Godzilla is a better story, and so they equal out there. If you know what I mean, right? If you get what I'm saying,
right?
But I wouldn't call either the best Godzilla film ever. That's going to be the original, either version of it, or Terror of Mechagodzilla to me. Those are. What is this? I didn't even know. 90s dark sci-fi cartoon was supposed to be American Gundam. So what were they talking about? So before the rise of dedicated network cartoons, the Saturday morning and after school animation block were the days house most kids. Are you old enough to remember Saturday morning cartoons, Jacob?
What now? What?
Are you old enough to remember the Saturday morning cartoons?
Yeah, probably. Do they still have them?
Up until I want to say like 1990, you could go Saturday morning on CBS, NBC, ABC, plus all local affiliates. There were cartoons from like 6 a.m. to like noon.
Oh, okay. No, I vaguely remember that, but I was more watched more on Cartoon Network and
Yeah, this would have been Cartoon Network arose because of the end of Saturday morning cartoons, basically.
okay.
So, they're already wrong. I think I have a feeling. Okay, as far as those stories, they're talking about Exo Squad, right? So, okay, so Exo Squad, for those who don't know, was basically a way they're trying to make a BattleTech TV series, which is an American game. Okay, which is kind of based on Macross, not Gundam. Not by the way, like I mean, when they write these articles, it's like they don't know what they're talking about. You know, what I mean? This is a really
no, they
good
don't.
cartoon. Okay, but it's based on BattleTech. Okay, not Gundam, and BattleTech is a sort of stolen, I guess you would say, Macross. You know. Oh, okay. Dick Dempsey sent me a DM. Oh my god. He sent me a picture of that dude. Let's see if I could put it up for us.
Yeah, it would be
So this is the
Dempsey
dude that got
says
to play He-Man.
roids. Yeah, no.
Like they would have to pump him up with double Sylvester Stallone level steroids just to make him look like a mini He-Man. You know what I mean? Like a 6 foot tall He-Man.
Hisui.
Not even.
That's not He-Man. That's Hisui.
Yeah, it's like Chibi. It's Chibi He-Man. You know, Chibi. You know. But anyway, I think I had. Do I have this cartoon on Netflix? Let me double check. I think I do. I think I watched it 2 years ago again. It's never been. Yeah, I have Exo Squad. I have both seasons. I don't think it's ever been released on Blu-ray. I think I have a DVD quality copy. Let me check. You know, I can actually share that with you guys. Stop screen share. Present. Share screen. Now I can't play it. Oh, this is so old. I might be able to play a few seconds of it. And look at the. I'm sure you recognize some of these voice actors. You know.
Yeah.
They're actually actors. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And what level of quality do I have? Get info. So this is basically not DVD. It's European. It's called PAL. It's European TV standard. So I'll let me mute this. I'll see if I can play a few seconds but muted. I should be able to play a little bit of it. I'll do some skipsies so I don't get too nuked over it. You know. You see, I mean, good quality animation, but clearly based on BattleTech. You know what I mean? So anyway.
Yeah, I mean that looks nothing like Gundam.
Yeah. Like if you saw the mechs, if I could show you the mechs at a time, I could find BattleTech mechs that they're clearly pulled out of. You know what I'm saying? So.
Yeah. Mech Warrior. I mean, it's basically like saying, "Hey, Mech Warrior came from Gundam."
Yeah. Now, you could argue, right? You could argue that Gundam was the first mecha anime, and therefore it's the ancestor of all mecha. So there's giant robot. There's robot anime. Let's say like where people either pilot giant robots or pilot like mecha type robots, right? And like so. Well, let's take a step back. There's giant robot anime like Gigantor and little robot anime like Astro Boy, but the people don't pilot them. Okay. Then there's in the 70s you got where people would pilot these giant robots or pilot these giant sort of walking tank shaped humanoid things. So that was a division there, and you can make the argument that Gundam was the parent of both of those. You know, But
Yeah.
that's just loosely speaking in a sort of way, in the same sense that Tolkien and Robert E. Howard are seminal authors for all of modern fantasy. You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
Yeah. But let's
I
go
have a
back.
Gundam right here in front of me.
Send me a picture if I could share it out. Or like however you want to send me a picture.
I can share a image if I can find one. Yeah, this is just the image from the what do they call it? Website. How do I open that?
Are you sending me a Twitter
I'm
or
just gonna share it.
Dempsey?
Share screen.
Well, that's why we have separate subgenres for robots, giant robots, and mechs and power armor, right? But in the original, there was Astro Boy, right, and then led to Gigantor, so to speak. So you had robot and giant robot, and eventually, the same people making them made Gundam, and then you wound up with all the different trees of robot anime. You know, we got Jacob. Is this Wing Zero?
Yeah, this is Gundam Wing or Wing Zero. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wing Gundam.
Yeah, I think
Go
I think that
figure.
actually is Wing Zero, or is that Tallgeese? I'm trying to remember, but that's from Gundam Wing.
That's Wing. Yeah, this is Wing Gundam.
Yeah. But
Wing
that's probably
Gundam, Wing Zero. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, there's Wing Zero, and then another one that Hero got. I haven't watched Gundam Wings. The reason I haven't rewatched Gundam Wing is because the ending was horrible. Like it was horrible.
Yeah.
Like the whole we'll establish world peace by throwing all of the Gundams into the sun.
What? No.
Like,
No.
like, yeah. And I'm sure when someone builds another one and no one else has a Gundam to fight them, I'm sure that really a lot of world peace. You know?
Yeah. Right.
But yeah. So go back here. So there we go. So it's 4:22. Go a couple more minutes, and then an hour and a half. An hour to hour and a half seems like the right length for this show with two guests. You know, just let's do a little music talk. By the way, Jacob, what type of music do you listen to? I never asked.
It varies. You know, I like a lot of different music.
Oh, okay. So yeah, variety of. Okay, that's fine. I am my main music are like hard rock and metal, plus some classical stuff, and but I also listen to folk and even a little bit of rap and a little bit of
No,
stuff like that. So
that's one genre I don't listen to.
I like the rap I like a lot is early rap, where like East Coast was like just party rap where you can have fun, like Run DMC, or West Coast rap where like it
Yeah.
was actually like punk music where they're protesting social conditions and all that. I hated gangster rap. I hate modern hip hop where it's just like the same crap over and over again. But like when it was
Yeah.
early rap, and then I guess you'd say mid, like when Eminem came out, that was kind of like that early rap was protesting about stuff. You know what I mean? Like talking about legitimate conditions and all that.
Right.
Yeah. I like when music is about something. Whether it's about having some fun,
Yeah,
like
me
some
too.
lighthearted. Yeah. What else we got? Ultimate Classic Rock. Let's check them out. Ooh.
I actually have to go here in a minute.
Okay, so Jacob's gonna head out. I have the link to his channel below. Jacob, why don't you tell us what you got coming up?
Okay. Yeah, I have Actually, this evening I'll be on Potato Raven's channel talking The Two Towers. And then my show Tuesday is X-Files. Kind of getting caught up with some. I was just going to do the regular Monster of the Week episodes instead of the alien stuff. But then I decided to go back and do the alien stuff. So I'm getting caught up. So I'll be doing episode 4 and 9 of season 1. And then I'll be caught back up. So
okay, sounds pretty good.
What else? Yeah, and I'll also be on that X-Files stream will start early, I think about 6. And then I'll be on Gord King's channel talking The Crow. Yeah, that's what I got. And of course, I'll be on Roman's show talking the just fantastic show, The Acolyte.
Oh yes, yeah. And you'll be on my show hopefully next few weeks as well. So there you go.
Yeah.
Is that it for you, Jacob?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay, so just feel free to drop whatever. I'm just gonna. I have some questions I want to answer in the chat about music.
Okay.
We look through the list. Okay. Where are we here? Show. Isn't Gangstar like a website? Nosferatu, like world. Like, am I thinking of World Star Hip Hop? Yeah, Dempsey is a musician, guys. Dempsey, if you give me some links to your stuff, I could post it down below in my descriptions.
Thanks for having me on again, Matt.
Yeah, no problem. It's good to have you. It was great to talk to you. You know, we're simpatico on a lot of topics. You know, so it's pretty cool. You know?
Yeah.
I'm hoping to get a third person. I think
internet.
Yeah, well, that's you gotta get those raccoonitos taking out your internet. You know, you gotta.
Yes. I will have a meme for that, by the way.
Yeah. I still wish we had Ginger Ninja on. He could have done such a cool raccoonito. You know.
Yeah. Yes. I might have him do that. Ooh, that'd be cool.
If I had any skill with those AI programs, I would do it.
Yeah. Yeah, those AI stuff is hit or miss. But yeah. Well, man, I'll catch you later.
Okay, man. Talk to you later.
Later, everybody.
Who else? Some music. CLS. Country music. I like some of it. I mean, everyone likes Johnny Cash. Yeah. So everyone likes Johnny Cash. I like Southern rock, like Charlie Daniels and Alabama and all that. So you know, I like Western music. I love John Denver, so I love that. You know that. Yeah. Okay, let's find. Okay, so we're up. It's about to be 4:30. I will try to find one, maybe two more articles to give some brief thoughts on, and unless someone has questions. I don't hate. Well, I personally don't hate the Black Crows. I just am not a big fan of the Black Crows. Right. Let's check out. Oh, Fandom Pulse and Fandom Wire. Oh, they're gonna ruin Silent Hill too. Apparently, I don't want to know. Yeah, kind of the same thing, Dempsey. If they come on, if I'm listening to like a radio stream or whatever, and the Black Crows are on, I'll let them play. And wire. So this, now I've read some. So Bloodborne is a PlayStation game, and I've read some of the Bloodborne comics. I've really enjoyed them, and I wish they'd put the game out on PC so I could try it. But the PlayStation is really being dicks about putting their games on computer. Okay, this will be the last article. We'll just randomly go to, I guess, Hollywood Reporter. Oh, I did Hollywood Reporter. Let's. What is this? Oh. Apparently, Taylor Momsen. I like our band. Obviously, she's physically attractive, but um, apparently she got bit by a bat on stage. It's like, oh God. Okay. Don't want to end on Tyler King, so we'll do one last article. Movie Web. Oh, here's good. Okay. So, for those who don't know, I'm a fan of the Yellowstone TV shows, right? All of them. But because of Kevin Costner being a head case, they're canceling Yellowstone solely because they don't want to pay him to be an executive producer on the show. He's basically quitting. So they're basically making an entirely new show with many of the actors from Yellowstone. I'm guessing they're just going to kill him off, and Case here is supposed to inherit the ranch. So I guess these two inherit the ranch and be the main characters. We'll need about three main characters. What I'm guessing. You know. Okay, that's it, guys. This has been Friday Fandemonium on May 31st. The My birthday is next week, so at those who are at the beginning, I'm going to get myself a few self birthday gifts. I'll share them. I'll show you next week what I get. I was on Jacob's channel this week with Leon the Professional. That was Tuesday. Check that out. A few weeks ago, we did El Grande Silencio. Later Notes, thanks for being here. We had Roman's channel. We did Roman's channel last night with Roundup, which is cool. It was pretty funny. We had some pretty funny stuff on that. If you can check that out. I will be guesting on at least part of Wednesday night is Overbooked, which is a wrestling show at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard this Wednesday coming up on my actual birthday. Next week, Friday Fandemonium. My ongoing. You guys, I mean, I've been saying what I'm doing for a while. I don't want to belabor it. But anyway, I want everyone to have a great, safe weekend. Stay safe out there. Stay cool. Peacefully protest what happened in New York, peacefully. And have a great. And this is Matt from Rail 73. Have a great weekend. I am out of here.